Zoom interview because we are still in the middle of a pandemic. But whatever, we'll deal with it when it happens, it happens. But today I have Natasha, the director of NAB short film. If you saw my review, you would know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, make sure you go and watch that review as well as the short film. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, great. So hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on here, Anna. So I am Natasha Mynhier. I directed a short film called In a Beat, and the short film is about a young Black autistic boy on his first night home alone. So I hope that everyone goes and enjoys it. I don't want to spoil the plot.
The link to it will be down in the description box below, so you can check it out after you watch it, along with the link to the review. So anyway, my first question is, I know you started your own third company, 37 Laines LLP at 17. Can you explain your inspiration and journey for doing so?
Yes. So I started 37 Laines when I was a dancer. So I was a dancer for like 20 years, and I was 17 and I was in a big show, and I was just feeling really inspired to make my own show. And in order to rent a theater to do a dance show, you have to have an LLC because you need it to run a bank through and insurance through. So literally just because I needed the insurance so I could do this show, I was like, I gotta start this company. And so my parents, they helped me figure out how to do it, and we started 37 Laines, and then did that dance show, and it was sold out. I was so proud. I was so excited. But then I went off to college and kind of like kept it going, and then it changed a bit, because as I was in college, I was studying screenwriting and film, and my interest in dance kind of changed into more of an interest in film. And then 37 Laines became more of a film company rather than just like dance entertainment. And I met Jeff Hammerton, who shot In a Beat, and he and I, then he joined 37 Laines. That was about 5 years ago. And now the two of us have been making everything together. And it's been quite a fun journey. Like, having a small business in Los Angeles working on film there's a lot of film companies here, but I can say that it's definitely a fun time. I see why so many people do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like my YouTube channel. I started the YouTube channel my sophomore year of high school because most people who I was talking to did not understand that my disability is not mental, it's only physical. And most people were like, oh, well, your life must be terrible. And I'm like, not really, my life is not terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I can do what other people do. I need people willing to, help me with my daily routine and, help me with the places I need to go and transportation and all that. So
Yeah.
I started picking up my camera, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel and make people see that terrible quality with what I have. Isn't a bad thing. And then as I got older, I'm really into editing video and producing content. And I recently, in May, I was a senior in high school, so now I'm done with high school, and I thought, now what am I gonna do? So then I turned my YouTube channel into my own personal disability awareness plan, and now I do this full time, and I expanded it out to multiple disabilities. I know people with multiple disabilities. So yeah, that's how I ended up doing what I do now.
That's so great. It's so, so wonderful because more people need to have inspiring YouTube channels. There's enough of the same old stuff out there. And so
Yeah.
I love your YouTube channel. And you should also meet Jen if you haven't.
Oh
had a
yeah,
chance.
then the rebranding autism.
Yeah,
I love the I watch it every night. I've been thinking about reaching out to her to see if she would do an interview. So
oh, I can call her right now and get her to do it. She would love to, I'm sure.
yeah, I was gonna DM her on Instagram.
Great idea.
Yeah. So yeah. My next question is, I know you recently released a short film, NAB, about someone with autism. Can you explain your inspiration for the film?
Yeah, totally. So the inspiration for the film was my cousin, actually. So it was written about my cousin's experience. When he was diagnosed with autism, well, given his autism spectrum diagnosis, he was really young. He was like 2, and his whole journey was one that I saw as the same journey of independence as a lot of kids go on. And I found it really frustrating that he kept getting pushed up against this kind of mindset that people have about the autistic community, which people like wrongly assume that people who have autism are like lacking in empathy or something.
Right.
And that was so like just untrue from every single person I've ever met who's autistic, and my friends and family. Like that's just violently untrue. So I wanted to make a film that showed that was untrue. And so I really tried to focus the plot around this child's empathy. And also I've secondarily made it because my cousin is Black, and the experience of the Black autistic community is really just like not shown in film at all. So that was another reason, is the representation for him as he was growing up. It was like there were no films to show him, to just for him to relate to, or any characters really, like any of the Rain Man, all of these, great films. They didn't have anyone that he could really feel like he connected to. So that was some of the reason. And then of course the last reason is my cousin's first time he stayed home alone did involve the same kind of ending as we do use in the movie. It was a pot instead of a tap shoe, but he did use that repeat stimming music-based pattern.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't tell you how many wrong stereotypes there are with my disability, but I don't understand where people miss this information from. I mean, you are so wrong in so many different ways. I don't even know where to start. So in addition to my YouTube channel, I wrote a book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the main character is disabled too. So there's literally no picture book for young children to read about. And I am a big believer in education.
Yeah.
If you pick up a book with a young child about disability, they're gonna see someone out with whatever and know that person is different but also the same as them. They might communicate differently, they might need a bit of extra help, but they are the same person that they are with a different unique way. And I think that parents need to understand that they need to use social media, books, anything that they can find to demonstrate disability awareness, because in public, parents I'll be walking down an aisle and little children will look at my walker, look at it and not say anything, and they're not young. Some of them are very old, like old people even do it. And I'm like, disability awareness needs to be taught like as soon as you can, I really appreciate you making that video, that film, because it really helps understand.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm so glad to be a part. It was like honestly such an honor to work on this topic. And I think, I think for me, I feel similarly. Like I think the experience of the disabled community is sometimes like over sensationalized in film if it is shown. And I think that was something else we really wanted to work on in this film is we just wanted to show a day in the life of a mom and a son with a crazy circumstance of what happens at the end of the movie when he's alone, right? And so that kind of day-to-day naturalistic reality rather than this kind of sensationalized version is what we were going for, so that people who watched it felt like some other movies about a mom and a kid where it's just kind of a day-to-day routine and it's not it's not so I don't know what the word is now, I'm losing it, but big or grand. It's like more about the minute.
Yeah. When creating material for the film, what was something you had to consider to inform the film was authentic for the disability community?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in order to make it authentic, a few things happened. So first of all, because it was about my cousin, we went through, as a writer, I went through journeys. This was like a few years that I was working on writing this film. And so when I started writing it, I wrote a draft that was just about him. And then I went through like 10 different drafts where I tried to include all my other autistic friends, like bits and pieces of them mixed in and their experiences and their form, because every single person is different, right? So their version of autism or their version of the particular quirks that they experience on a day-to-day is unique. So I then started getting overwhelmed and I was like, oh no, I don't want to try and represent the entire autistic community with this film. That's impossible. That would be like representing all of America with one person. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I gotta just focus on my cousin. I'm just gonna do his story and really try and be accurate to his particular nuances. So then I started calling he and his mom and talking through his experience in more detail. That was the first step. And then the second step was as you mentioned, casting. So when we were casting it, we originally were, I'm a follower of the advocacy community, and there was some advocacy going on after Atypical that was saying we want to cast actually autistic individuals in films. And so I was like, yeah, I believe in that. Like I'm gonna do that too. So I went to all these local theater groups and local foundations and just kept calling them and saying like, hey, do you have any kids around the age of like 10 to 13, somewhere in there, that are Black, that are autistic, any of them? And basically they all said no. They were like, we don't have any kid like that. And I just found that, number one, to be very telling. I was like, this is exactly the problem, yeah, there's just no representation either in film or in healthcare and in research for the Black community. So then I was like, okay, well, that's darn. And I didn't have a big budget, So I was like, okay, I don't really have a way to go and like get a casting agent or anything. So then we went on to option 2, which was just finding somebody through Instagram. And what I ended up having a conversation with some members of the Actually Autistic movement, the like hashtag Actually Autistic.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I was talking to some other people to get some other perspectives, and they were basically like, yeah, in our opinion, because this film does show meltdowns and does have 2 or 3 scenes with meltdowns in it, we don't think that it's ethical to put a child who doesn't have maybe full ability yet to, give consent to be participating in that kind of scene, that putting them through something that could trigger them is not a good idea. If you're asking a person who's autistic to act as in a happy scenes and like things like that, no problem, you know. So when I considered that, I was like, okay, I think because this is my first bigger film and it's something that I care about, I would really hate to like have in that process me somehow cause someone pain or cause some kind of triggered experience, you know. So then through Instagram, I just started scrolling through hashtag child actor and like and basically just looking at hundreds and hundreds of kids and until I found a handful, and I messaged them and their parents and I just said, hey, you know, this is who I am, this is the film, this is it, you can read about it here and all this. And then I started auditioning them, and that's how I found Cameron. And Cameron, he was like everything that we were looking for because he's so charming and patient, you know, as well as just kind. And he's also a quiet young man. And so it was important to me that it represented the kind of like quiet and charming personality of my cousin. So once we started talking to Cameron, he was so understanding of the disability community. And when I was speaking about the differences that I'd want him to kind of focus in on, he was like really receptive to it. And so that's how we knew that he was going to be a good person to involve.
Yeah, that may even when I was looking for activity to get involved in, because I wanted to get involved with my high school as much as I could, but because I needed, you know, one-on-one support, to someone, I don't need someone all the time, but I need somebody there in case I fell over or, you know, tripped on something or the bathroom, you know, things like that. I found the look for Duck Buddy. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all, but they are a group that pair people with disability with someone who is not disabled, another high school that is not disabled. And by doing that, I realized that most of their activities were for people who had mental disability and not physical disability. So through that process, I tried to become a board member of that program. I wanted to let them know, you know, like you tell me that you're disability inclusive, but I don't have a mental disability, so I don't need, you know, I need more activity that I like to do, you know, in the time, because I'm bored with the same activity over and over again. And so I became a board member, and I just said, hey, listen, like, if you're gonna have the club, you gotta, you know, be able to invite anyone with anything because you want them to have a nice time, you know, and enjoy themselves. So I believe in everyone needs to be represented too. So, yep, that's kind of my experience with that as well. My next question, my next question is, what was your biggest obstacle you had to overcome when making the film?
Well, I feel like you probably know, because you're a YouTuber, that there's like a million obstacles. There's obstacles all the time. I think that's just the process of filmmaking, is kind of getting through all those different problems that you encounter. But the accuracy of the representation, as we just discussed, was definitely by far the biggest hurdle to focus on throughout the process, because in every step of the way, as someone who's neurotypical, I didn't want to place my judgments on him. I didn't want to bring an ableist perspective or any, I was really trying to like, to just be, to show his empathy and, but also to empathize with the mom too, like that's important as well. And that balancing act between the actually autistic community and the parent community was something that I wanted to show, which is actually why we set the film in 2013, because that was right during the whole conflict over the puzzle piece symbol. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. There was like, that was the beginning of it. Obviously it's still going on right now, but that was the time when parents were, a lot of parents who like loved their kids a lot and were doing their best, were using the puzzle piece symbol, which is now kind of such a contested symbol in some people's minds, as an example of their love. And so, but it was kind of, at the time when people were seeking awareness rather than acceptance,
Right.
And I simply think it was just because of the lack of education on the topic. Like, I think that's how my aunt would describe it as well in her experience. And so we tried to focus on that kind of, that nuance of how in the beginning she's wearing the necklace, she's kind of like going through these machinations with her kid and finding herself as well, the mom, and then halfway through she takes the necklace off when she starts going to those auditions and chooses to leave him alone and kind of like starts accepting him for the independent being that he is. And I think that journey is another example of kind of an obstacle that was hard to really find the right way to represent, because we knew that as soon as we put a puzzle piece in the film, people were going to be like, there's a puzzle piece, so yeah, I'd say finding that balance between all these different parties in the writing, in the making, and then now as we're releasing it, this is my first time releasing something more public like this, and in the process of like responding to feedback and knowing how to do press and knowing that whatever we choose to say, like I've been talking to our whole team about like, you need to feel the weight. Yes, we're not representing the entire disability community, but to an extent, because this is the first film that has a Black autistic lead in it, there is like some amount of responsibility that I think we do need to like keep in mind in order to be doing justice to the community, like.
Right.
So that's something that we were definitely been very cognizant of throughout the process.
Yeah, and me being a YouTuber, I know all about I had a big one the other day.
Oh yeah.
My laptop broke. It was terrible. And also when I'm trying to talk about, all the problems I see with my disability community, in when I was in high school, my SSD, my special needs program at my school wasn't very well equipped for someone like me,
Yeah.
The people that would help me were normally used to submitting away with whatever they could, because they believed that people didn't know what they were doing, And I was like, now I advocate for what I need. Like when I meet someone, I literally lay it down for them. I mean, here, this, and here's how you do it.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm out of high school, whenever I make a video, people will like, how was your high school experience? And I'm like, you really want to know? Whenever I make videos like that, I kind of have to be careful not putting it all on that one school. But like overall, how I want to give advice to everyone, not only where I read about it. I kind of try and put it in a broader perspective for anyone who has a disability or may be a parent of someone with a disability who is concerned that their child is not getting what they need, at school or at a care facility. So yeah, I completely understand what you mean when you say you kind of have to be careful what you put out there.
Yeah.
You never know who's gonna take a step to it or get mad at you because, well, people that don't understand other people feel sometimes. Okay, what do you hope viewers take away from watching the film?
Good question. So I think the number one reason we made it, like I was mentioning, was empathy in the autistic community. I think that's the number one thing I would like people to take away, is that just because empathy isn't shown, maybe sometimes it is, but in the way that some people expect, right? Like it's, or just they're not. I think it's opening your eyes to seeing empathy in everyone. That's something that we could use across the board. And in this film, every moment of it, from the toast, from the decision that he makes to stay home on his own, even though he's young and he's scared, and like any kid who wants to stay home alone for the first time, like nobody. Yeah. So he's, on this journey of independence entirely in support of his mom because he loves her. And, and I think that kind of love and that kind of dedication to someone and care for them and is doesn't need to be shown in a hug just because that's the way she wants to experience empathy. It can be shown in his forms of it. And even in the hug, we tried to show in the film how he still also gives empathy in the way that she wants to receive it as well, So that's kind of the biggest takeaway is an analysis of empathy. I would love people to take that away.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Pondering Autism. It's another autism awareness YouTube channel out on YouTube. And they were talking to people, their daughter Abby has nonverbal autism, and people were talking about in the comments how he doesn't care about them, or that he doesn't care about her parents, her family, emotions. And they were like, no, he does, but in her very own way, he doesn't show it like a normal human being. And so I think that's really important because some people either physically can't do what a normal person does, or some people with autism don't like certain things, But I can't, like, if somebody will ask for me and I'm introducing myself to them, I can't take my hand off my walker to take their hand. Because then I will tip over.
Yeah.
I'm like, when people do that, I'm like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not rude. I can't do that. And nor can I hug somebody unless I'm sitting down at the table, So I think it's very important that people understand that people are very empathetic in multiple different ways due to their ability to do, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a great point. I think that I would love it, but maybe it's a good thing. The silver lining of this whole coronavirus situation is that people aren't supposed to handshake anymore, right?
Right, because I don't know if you know another lady, Tina B. Her daughter had apathy. I interviewed her in a video on her channel, and her on my channel with her, I mean.
Yeah.
And he was like, make sure you ask the person what they can and can't do, or how they would like to be, a pro or a meeting, because then you don't have to worry about that awkward moment of, hi, I'm so-and-so, and putting your hand out and the individual doesn't know and respond.
Yep.
I always feel so awkward when people do that. I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Anna, and I think another important thing is talking to the individual with a disability, not who they're with. Most people, when I'm out with whoever, whether it be my mom or a friend, they always talk to whoever I'm with, not me. They're like, oh, how old is she? Oh, what's her name? And I'm like, I'm standing right here, and I can hear you, and I understand what you're saying.
That's so, Jen, actually, I was just talking to her the other day about this because on her, she had a similar experience because she felt people were underestimating her. And so then she had just basically she had some caretakers who said, look out, like if you try and join this one elite club, it's going to be hard. The tests are hard. And she said, no, I'm going to go do it. And so she went and she took the Mensa exam and she got into Mensa. And then she walked into the first Mensa meeting and they kept talking to the people she was with. And she was like, I'm the one who got into Mensa. Like,
Right.
So I was like, that is so impressive. That's such a great story.
Yeah. In it talking how many people, what people say when I'm out. Like, I was out with a friend about a year ago. Me and my friend went out for the first time, and I was in my wheelchair because normally I like to introduce people to taking care of me by having them use my wheelchair because it prevents me from possibly falling over, from them not knowing how to, work my walker or whatever. And we were at the restaurant, and our waiter said, oh, are you her nurse? And my friend, who's 19, was like, how would I, he's the same age as me, how would I be her nurse right now? Because I'm not her medical assistant, I'm a friend. We literally said that, and the waiter was, really? But she was surprised, and we were like, yeah, really, people with disabilities send them out with her.
Yeah. Well, that's so good that you're doing that. You gotta keep helping people understand, because there's a lot of people who need some understanding in the world right now.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yes, there is. And my last question is, what is your biggest piece of advice for young filmmakers?
Well, I think filmmaking is such an interesting field, and I think if you're interested in film, you're interested in storytelling, right?
Right.
And you're interested in representing thoughts or perspectives. And so I think, first of all, creating as often as possible. Like you're gonna get better the more that you make things, right? But then number two is just because it is storytelling and it is speaking for communities, doing it from your heart, because storytelling really does have the ability to shape people's opinions. So if you listen to people and educate yourself and like speak from a place of honesty, I think people's commitment to doing that is what is gonna, if they just keep at it, they'll definitely be heard for that kind of storytelling. So
yeah, and I think that it's the same for YouTube. I'm noticing that I can do that, and ever I started doing it, full time every single day, I noticed a huge amount of people started following me, and I was really surprised. Wow, what in your own business and YouTube, and putting day in, day out time into it, it's really paying off.
yeah.
Because I used to upload when I had school, and I used to upload like maybe once a week, and it takes me so long to edit a video because my right arm does not work. So I don't have to use it. So I'm doing everything one-handed. So it takes twice as long to create a video, and it used to be like, oh, I don't have time for this because I had homework and school.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I'm doing it for time. Now I have all the time to upload video, even though I upload once a week on Monday now. I still am working, like I'll DM people, I'll email people, I'll write posts on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I still have the time, and people, when I started doing that, people just kept coming and my YouTube, got bit, it's getting bigger and bigger, and so yeah, if you keep doing what you're doing, no matter what it is, you're met from what you hope to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, thank you so much for being on my channel.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Such a fun time talking with you.
Yeah, and make sure if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button down here. And I love meeting new people. And comment down below what should they comment. I have no idea what should they.
Oh, I mean, hopefully watch the film. And comment what you think of Anna's other videos, because I watched a bunch of them and they're all very interesting. So
yeah, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like this video, I'm sorry. And make sure you follow my other social media too, because this is not the only thing I do. And link to all that will be down in the description.
awesome.
And as well as the film.
All right. Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Me too. I really enjoyed it.